All right, good morning, everybody. Going to do another live here from home. Going to talk about the weather today. It's going to be a little active later this afternoon. I don't think we see anything, really not a whole lot more than what we had yesterday as far as the severe threat goes. Summertime thunderstorms, maybe a little more intense up across the Smoky Mountains. I'll get into that in just a second. I have a little cup of coffee. Let a few people catch up here. Again, some people may not get the notifications. Make sure I get the date right on that. Yeah, May 16th. Boy, the year is flying by. So overall, this morning you see to my left, the thunderstorms are up into Kentucky. With those, they're going to track to the east-southeast. There's a little short wave, we call it, kind of tracking through. So let me go ahead and take a look at what we've got going on here off to the northwest. And let me switch this up here with that. So what we've got, this is a look at the United States. I know it's awfully colorful here. This is the water vapor satellite, and it's really good at picking out these shortwave troughs, we call them. You can see the one out here where we've got this orange color across Missouri down into Oklahoma. That's just a wave. Basically think of it as like a wave on the ocean, and that is moving east-southeast, and that's going to force the air to rise ahead of it. That's why we'll likely get some showers and thunderstorms around here, but probably a little bit more wind shear going on in eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee. And I'll show you the Storm Prediction Center. They've got this area highlighted for the higher threat of severe weather. They've got an enhanced risk for severe weather up in that area there. Well, it looks like they've just updated and they've got us under a marginal now. But again, I'm not a real fan of marginal risks because we could be under a marginal risk every day in the middle of summer. So that's why I don't really like them that much. Tornado threat is going to be up here northeast of Knoxville into southern West Virginia and western Virginia and the southeast part of Kentucky. And the hail threat is primarily going to be in that area as well. But again, we're kind of on the southern end of this. So let's take a look at, just want to take a look at some of these, the forecast, the meso-analysis going on with some of these. I keep getting errors on that particular software there. So we go into the meso-analysis. This is just going to kind of show you the setup this morning. We've got 1,014 millibar area low pressure up here central, which isn't really that strong at all. The Cape is slowly climbing, so there's not much Cape over here, which is kind of surprising, but that will build over time. And then the wind shear is going to be higher up here to the north, so that's really why they're kind of focused a little bit more up there. And I'm going to get into our forecast here in just a second, just kind of do an overview. Going to shift gears here and kind of focus on that area. So again, the Cape, it's about 500 to start in the Nashville area, and this will build all across northeast Tennessee and up into the Virginias. This is where our wind shear is higher. That's one thing we really lack is wind shear, and that's a good thing. And as far as lifted index this morning, it's not overly impressive, but we're just starting to warm up. And some of these areas probably have some fog up there early this morning. So again, kind of go back and show you the setup. There's another short wave up here north of Lake Superior, it looks like, and that's going to continue to drop to the south and east. And you'll see over time how we've got a fairly significant short wave that's going to develop Friday into Saturday and move on down. Let's see here. Again, I've got comments for subscribers only. I've kind of put that on there, so some of you may not be able to comment. That's for subscribers only. So again, I'm trying to tighten things down a little bit to subscribers. As far as the models go, I do want to show you what's happening with the dew point temperatures. Notice that purple, those are dew points in the 70s. So as we go through time here, this is going to be this afternoon. And as we continue on, notice the trend here. This is going to be behind a front. So this is Wednesday morning. Winds are out of the north. And notice how the drier air starts to come in. But it's short-lived, so we're going to get a real narrow window with the dew points in the upper 50s perhaps. So there's 56-degree dew point northeast wind, and that's Thursday morning. So it's going to be refreshing out there Thursday morning. But notice kind of a wedge effect here. And what I'm talking about is this area here the backside of the Appalachians, we've got this northerly wind. So this is going to be a temporary wedge. But along that, as it kind of starts to set up that boundary, this is Thursday into Friday, we do see some convergence, we call it. So that's why we could see more thunderstorms as we get into late Thursday. And notice the trend here as we get towards the weekend. There's a front coming in, and that's what we're trying to figure out, the timing on this front. This is going to be Saturday morning. So Saturday afternoon may be a gorgeous day on into Sunday morning, but there's just a little bit of moisture out there. So what I want to do here, as you can see the satellite this morning, most of that rain is to the north, and that's going to continue to be up there to the north as well. So what we're going to talk about now is kind of our forecast a little bit more. See if we got any more comments here. Oh, you're welcome. All right, so let's get into our forecast here. And to do that, I'm going to shrink this screen here. And I'm going to pull. I'm going to go back to the wider view here in just a second, but this is going to be over northwest Alabama. So you can see as we look at, this is going to be 10 o'clock this morning basically, so I'm going to put this into motion. It's going to be more of a west wind here. That's another thing that may limit, you see the yellow arrows here, more of this west wind that may limit some of the severe weather threat. You really kind of want a southeast wind. But again, we don't have a lot of wind shear out there. So as we get going, the winds are going to increase a little bit. Cloud cover increases. This is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Another very hot, sticky May day. Temperatures in the upper 80s, 86 Athens. That's just after 1 o'clock. And good pool weather, but keep an eye on the sky. We're going to have a lot of lightning with some of these big thunderstorms. So what happens is you get heated up, and then you get these thunderstorms that blow up, and then eventually they all produce the rain, of course. And that rain spreads out, creates this rain-cooled boundary, and that stabilizes us for the rest of the day. So by 6:30 this evening, we're still looking at a trend of some showers and thunderstorms. And I was noticing this last night. Now this is the graph high resolution model. It has another round coming in ahead of that front. You can see our winds are still out of the south, but if the front moves in earlier, that'll be better. But this has the front moving in around 4, 5, or 6 in the morning Wednesday. Now this is something to stay tuned for if you've got morning plans tomorrow because of widespread rain. It's a possibility. But again, this forecast model is going to run again, and it may be earlier. So again, we've got rain possible Wednesday, but I think most likely if it does rain Wednesday and storm, it's going to be in the morning hours. You see by 9:30 the wind shifts to the northwest, and it's still trying to create a few thunderstorms right along that boundary. I think this is probably overdoing it a little bit for tomorrow afternoon, but there's that boundary there kind of drawn in red that's pushing to the south. So that's one thing we'll watch for as it comes in. But again, we don't have a tornado threat with this. There's really very little wind shear. This is just going to be a front moving through. So as we continue on into Monday evening, boy, nice 60s, and we're going to get into the upper 50s and low 60s perhaps Wednesday night into Thursday morning. But then, as I mentioned, by Thursday afternoon, this kind of reverses. So let me pull up this other graphic here. This is going to be for the northeast corner of the state, up towards Winchester and Middle Tennessee. Kind of showing the same thing here at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's already warm out there, muggy. And what we're going to see is the winds more westerly here, and that's another key component here. And then a few isolated storms around 2 o'clock. I think we'll see more than what you see on here depicted with the model guidance. And then as we get into the late afternoon hours, probably multiple areas of thunderstorms. Keep in mind, microburst wind potential. So it's Smith Lake area, this moving towards Gunnersville, Lake Gunnersville, around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I mentioned this yesterday. It's really hard. The models do a good job when initiating these thunderstorms and when they fade away, but they're really terrible this time of year at going hour by hour. So, because some of these storms, you just completely get skipped. That's just the nature of low shear and the fact that they don't maintain these updrafts but more than say 45 minutes or so. And then the other challenge is trying to time these out when they actually collapse. It's in that collapsing phase, and the Weather Service does the best they can to get the warnings out. And they did a really good job yesterday. They timed that Cortland storm out really well. It produced some wind damage, had 12 power poles snapped. And a lot of times, it's like it comes without warning, and it can this time of year. But your warning is the forecast for that potential. As we get past 11 o'clock tonight, we still have that bit of a southerly wind, especially Gunnersville, maybe even Boaz. So there's that last round that, again, I'm really uncertain about this round developing, especially since the front is already moving into northwest Alabama. You can see that right there. So with that, it's likely these storms are going to stay probably, again, the boundary, if it's 50 miles south, all this range towards Birmingham. So if you've got travel plans maybe headed to Birmingham tomorrow morning, that's something to watch out for. And then again, it brings this little secondary wave in. I just don't see that really being supported, even though the models kind of have it out there. And then notice by 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, upper 60s. And I mentioned the humidity is going to be fairly low as well. One last thing I want to talk about is going to be, this is the European model. We're going to take this into the weekend. Notice the bigger thunderstorms up here to our north into Kentucky. This is 1 o'clock this afternoon, again, associated with that shortwave moving through. And we've also got, again, this is Tuesday. I'm circling that up there on the north, on the upper left. Area thunder, this is the European model. It looks a little different than what I just showed you. This is it's a high resolution, but it's a longer range model. But you're going to see some things in here. The trend, the line of thunderstorms tracking east-southeast, 7 o'clock this evening. Probably going to see at least a severe thunderstorm watch up into northeast Tennessee. But given the fact they've got that 5% tornado risk, it'll probably be a tornado watch. So this model here, again, the European model, kind of pushes the boundary farther south. And this goes along with our initial forecast Wednesday of about a 20% chance of rain. But I did go 30% Wednesday, mainly for the morning, just because that one high-res model kind of showed some rain in the morning. And I'd rather forecast a little bit of rain and then not have it happen than do the opposite and say it's not going to rain and then all of a sudden it does rain. So again, typically people don't argue when that happens. So as we get beyond that, here's that wedge set up here coming in by 2 o'clock Thursday, right in that area there, North Georgia. The model guidance suggesting there's going to be enough for some convection kind of. This is, sometimes in the summer you get storms that track along more of an easterly wave from the east to the west. So we will watch that potential there as well overall. And then as we continue on into 7 o'clock in the evening, that fades away and kind of into the model guidance here Friday at 6 o'clock in the morning. Notice this. This is a fairly strong area low pressure up here in Minnesota. And that's looks like it has the appearance of an Alberta clipper. So that's going to move through here Friday night into Saturday morning. And that is something we are going to want to watch. Maybe a round of some stronger thunderstorms Friday night into Saturday. Let's see, questions. Not as many questions. Not as many people subscribed, it looks like, some people just joining. But all right, I'm going to end the stream now. Here we are. It's a little after 9 o'clock here Tuesday morning. I've got a few things I've got to do. I think I got to mow my yard before this rain moves in. Got a lot of weeds in this yard, but they're the cool season weeds. So with the hot weather, they should be going away pretty soon. I haven't got it in myself to go treat the weeds right now. All right, you guys take care. Thank you. Appreciate it.